Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another Facebook Live with the Sewing Workshop. I'm Betsy, and we've got Erin.
And I'm Erin. Nice to see you guys today. Thanks for jumping on and spending an hour with us.
Yep. So today we've got some really great new skirt styles to show you. But before we get into that, we want to talk about Sew Confident.
Yes. So there's a new threads that's coming out. Once we grab that, so
Big
new
news.
Threads magazine is happening, and this is the Winter 22. Number 220 that's coming out soon. We just got this in the mail today.
This is hot off the press. You may have not received it yet, but you will soon. And it's got a beautiful spread about our Sew Confident program. If you are not a part of Sew Confident, if you're still unsure about what Sew Confident is, get this issue or you can email us. We can tell you about it too. But this is a really nice display of what the program offers sewers. It's pages and pages, and Linda's going to go over this in more detail next week, but we wanted to give you a heads up that you need to go find this issue. So
Exactly.
go find it.
So this fall was Sew Confident for this year. We have had some really great projects. Over the summer we started with the willow blouse into August, and here we have it in the Liberty print. And then we paired it with this beautiful golden haiku 2. It's a sweater knit, and I think it's just the perfect length to wear with the willow blouse. And then we're pairing it with the haiku, or with the helix pants. So this is a slim fitting pant, elastic waistband, but it has a nice flat insertion at the waist, and then it's a slim leg.
So a couple things about Sew Confident. The first one is it is a yearly program, and you can sign up at any time, but also each monthly class is available just as a month. So if you just wanted the helix class or the haiku or the willow, you can do that separately. And I do want to make a note about the helix pants class because I think it's a really particularly great class. It's not just about making these pants, it's about fitting pants more than just making these pants. And I think of all of the alteration questions we get, fitting pants is the most common. And it's a really great class because Linda really takes you through a lot of different steps for fitting your pants. And if you have any questions, that is probably like the best way to go because you can see her teach you those techniques. So I would say if you're getting one class, helix pants class.
And it's a good simple pant to start with. I think that's a good, if some people sometimes avoid making pants because of the fitting. So I think the helix pants is a good pattern to start with. It's simple. It has some really nice fitting details with the darts, which I think make it really flattering. But she takes you through the steps on how to fit it for your body. So it's a good starting point if you're hesitant about making pants.
Yep. And just one more note, we do have kits left for our different projects. So we've got some helix pants kits left. We have some haiku jacket kits left, which is hard to say. Not, I'm afraid, in the gold, but in the teal and the black. Did we get gold in?
No, it's the, so the gold and the black.
Gold and the black.
Right.
Sorry,
right.
I got confused. But, you know, we put together the kits, we search out kind of our best fabric, and this particular sweater knit is really lovely. So,
Cotton, which I really like, soft, which I think makes it good for a lot of different seasons when it's cotton.
And I'm just gonna come up and give you a little bit of a close-up because what you probably can't see from far away is the slub for this sweater knit. And that's, you know, one of the things that makes this a special fabric. So check out the kits, check out the classes, and pretty soon you'll be able to check out next year's program because we're working on it.
Yes.
And we've got some
Stay
good
tuned.
projects, yes.
So then you wanted to talk about...
I want to talk about our Facebook
index.
videos. So we've had a lot of questions from people about techniques that we've covered years ago on Facebook Live and where we can find them. And so I had a running list. We had a lovely customer who made us a really nice spreadsheet of roughly the first year's Facebook Lives and the things that we covered. But we now have it available for everybody, and it is up to date to this Facebook Live today. But I'll update it after this too. So I've made what we were calling a video index. And the video index is located on our website. If you go to our homepage, there's a videos tab. It will drop down and you will see video index. On that page, there are 4 options. 3 of the options are just the videos by year. So 2020, 2021, and 2022. And they go by date. And they tell you all the patterns that we looked at, the techniques that we used. The more recent ones have a video timeline, so you can actually see at what point in the video we talked about different things. And then we also have a 4th index, which is by pattern and by fabric and by technique. So if you're looking for the Eureka woven knit combo top, in that index you can look down to Eureka and then see what date that is, and then you can find the video. So I did it both ways because people search differently, people's brains work differently, but that should be pretty easy to find. And I will note that in the technique index, it's not every time a pattern's been mentioned, because that's a lot,
Right.
Like the Eureka, it would be, like 50 different videos. It's if there's a demonstration or like a specific technique or variation that we talked about. If you have questions about any of that, just get in touch. But otherwise, they are available on that page as a PDF. And you can just download them and keep them on hand, so when you want something, you can find it.
It's really helpful.
Yeah.
That was quite the project.
It was quite the project. It was good though. I like an organizing spreadsheet, so it was very satisfying to do, I have to say.
I'm glad it was satisfying for you.
I enjoyed it. So we're going to talk about some skirts.
We are. So we have, we don't talk about skirts, I don't feel like very often, here at the sewing workshop, but I love dresses, I love skirts. You love dresses and skirts, so I think this is the perfect Facebook Live for us to do.
Yes.
So over the years we've had a few skirts, and there was one that we had originally called the Lotus that I'm not sure what year it came out, but we are reintroducing it today because it's a great fitted skirt. It has a beautiful yoke. You're actually wearing it here, Betsy.
Yep.
And let me make sure that they can see that in the camera. Why don't you talk about it a bit?
Back. So the Lotus skirt has this beautiful front drape. It's kind of a side drape, really. It's got an invisible zipper, although you can do an exposed zipper as well. And it's got a really nice fitted yoke at the waist. I don't know if you can see that. We'll say you can. I made mine out of our viscose linen fabric, and it's got the most beautiful drape. You can do fabrics with a little more body. I think I've seen them in like a heavier woven, but I think this particular fabric really shows off the drape of the skirt. And this one, I wanted to say, I didn't lengthen or shorten. We'll talk a little bit more about fitting options later in the program, but just as it is out there, this is the length that it was in the pattern.
So a little longer on you.
It's a little longer on me. On Erin, it would probably be like mid-calf. But yeah, so I love it. This has not been around since I've been working at the sewing workshop. So I was happy that we decided to bring it back and turn it into a digital pattern. But that is not the only skirt pattern we have. What are you wearing?
So I'm wearing the 6 cent skirt. So this is out of a knit, the heavier ponte knit, a printed knit. And so this is the 6 cents. It has a great wraparound detail here, but it's stitched down, so you don't have to worry about it flying open on you. Has a great patch pocket here. And then it has, I love this detail when we do this on pants and on skirts, where it has a flat in the front and then it has elastic in the back.
So much more flattering. And I like that you can do it in this heavier. Is it a ponte or just a jersey? It's a little bit of a heavy jersey.
Yeah, I guess it is a heavy jersey.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. It's really comfortable that way.
Yeah.
And then I'm pairing it with the Maison. This was actually a Facebook Live. You could look on your handy index to let you know when that was. But Linda, I remember Linda and Kathy did it. And so it's a Maison where they lengthened the sleeves and added elastic at the hem of the sleeves and did the combination woven and knit.
And I'm just wearing a Eureka top out of a sweater knit, which is perfect for fall.
And your little spider for
And
October.
my little Halloween spider.
I love that.
You know. So we've got some trunk show goods to show.
Yeah, let's talk about some other skirts and tops you can wear with those skirts.
And I might go behind the camera just to make
sure.
sure everybody can see everything.
So another skirt that we have in our line that we recently brought back is the 8th Avenue. So this is the 8th Avenue and the shorter length. The 8th Avenue is great because we have the printed pattern still and we have the digital pattern. So in the printed pattern, you get 2 lengths. You get the shorter length here, and then you also get a longer length. So this is the longer length of the 8th Avenue. And the 8th Avenue has the invisible zipper on the side. It has a facing around the waist, has darts to gather it in or kind of make it more fitted at the waist. And then it has this really great side panel. So it's an asymmetric skirt. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what we can wear with some of these skirts. I like skirts. Right now you're seeing a lot of skirts with sweatshirts on the top, sweaters on the top, sometimes things that are a little more oversized on the top. And so some of our garments are perfect for that. So with this 8th Avenue, I thought the Bristol was a really fun addition, that dressed up sweatshirt. I think that's a really nice combination. And just an off-white French terry. And then this skirt is 2 different wools, which is this, the 8th Avenue is perfect for pairing 2 different fabrics. You've got a herringbone plaid combination here and these orange autumnal fabrics. So that's really fun. And then I'll show you this, again, this other 8th Avenue, which I love digging in our archives. We have so many amazing garments that sometimes you forget about. And this was one of those that I completely forgot about. So this is the 9 Lives pattern. We're using a sweater knit and a cute little detail. I know you're going to want to see details of this one. It's Kathy, I think Kathy made this one. But what she did is she used the diamond shape of the knit to create the details at the sleeve and at the hem, which I thought was really interesting. She did some edge stitching around the shape. But that's a nice shorter length shirt that I think looks really good. So even though it's a little more oversized on the top, that shorter length looks really good with the skirts. The skirts are a little more fitted into the hips and in the waist, and then it comes out more A-line, and so it looks really good with the oversized tops. Here's some more Lotus skirts, the new skirt that we're putting out. So I paired this one with a Now shirt. It's a linen, silk linen blend Now shirt. I thought that was a really fun detail to add the texture of the white and then the texture of this Lotus skirt here. I think that's really neat.
I love it in that fabric.
So this might show off a little bit. I'm going to get a little closer with the yoke on that one. You see, this is the yoke here that comes down to a point. So it is an asymmetric drape in the front. And then the invisible zipper on the side. Another Lotus. I thought this was really fun. Sometimes you just have to go out on a limb and see if something's going to work for it. I thought that this is the Barcelona, and I thought this would be really fun to pull in the hem and kind of blouse out the top to give it a little more defined shape at the waist. And you pair it with this wool Lotus skirt.
Can we get a close-up of that scallop? Was that scallop part of the fabric, or was it a...
So this is, you can see the details here a little bit easier. So there's a scallop that she put, I think Kathy made this one as well, but she added the scallop to the bottom of the yoke. And this was not a part of the fabric. So this is an additional piece that she put below the yoke, but then she also put it at the hem. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. And she did this in the same way that 9 Lives was done. So she created the scallop, and then she did some stitching. In this case, it's a zigzag stitch, a small zigzag stitch that she did to outline the scallop.
That's a really nice detail.
And again, an additional piece on the bottom. But I think that's a really fun way. And since this is something that you can use the raw edge, so you don't have to finish the edges of this fabric, so you can really play with that raw edge. And then she also used a cute little polka dot. I'm going to take this off here so you can see it. So I think it's really cute. So she used a polka dot cotton for the facing. And then you can see it just peeking out just a little bit on the edge. It's just those added details. What else do we have here? Another lotus. So I paired this lotus with a helix. I think the helix is a nice, can be a sweater or a sweatshirt really easily. And I thought just a little touch of the shimmer was really nice. So kind of a gold shimmer. And then the lotus is made from a wool crepe. I think you could tuck in the helix if you wanted to tuck in to really show off the details of the yoke. Or I think you could leave it tucked, leave it out as well. And then another lotus. This is also out of a wool crepe. So this is the Charlie bomber jacket in a tweed. I thought that was a fun combination. And then you can put an ET, a long sleeve ET underneath it. Again, you could tuck in the ET or you could leave it untucked so you could see the, this gold peeking out from underneath the Charlie bomber. And I think the silhouette of having the cropped jacket with the Lotus skirt is really nice. Pair it with some tights, some ankle boots.
I think some tall boots too. I didn't have quite the right tall boots, but that's kind of what I wanted to wear. You're
seeing a lot of tall boots right now. And I think especially if it was peeking out with the drape, I think that would be really nice.
Yeah. Cute.
And this next combination I think was a little unexpected, but I think it works. So this is an 8th Avenue paired with the Bristol again, but this is out of the sweatshirt fabric. You're seeing a lot of very drastic combinations right now, like the sweatshirt on top and then something sparkly or sequined or a fabric with a little bit of a sheen to it. So you're seeing the contrast of the very casual sweatshirt with the more evening type fabrics. Pair that with tights, the tall boots. This would be, the 8th Avenue is perfect with the tall boots.
We've had a question about your shoes and what brand they are. People like them.
So patent leather, I think they're Steve Madden. I don't remember actually. I'm not as good with my brands.
Nice. Okay. Do you think we could see that scallop again?
Sure.
Another close-up detail.
So the scallop edge lotus.
Perfect.
And then, so the bottom scalloped edge is a strip that's been applied with the scallop detail. So you have a little more dimension. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really fun. Okay, should we take questions about do we have any other questions about the garments?
Well, we have a couple questions about the Lotus, and I'm going to come over for this one because they asked if you were flashing thigh when you were wearing the Lotus.
Okay.
But you are not, because the drape...
Should we make sure we can see you?
Yes, we should make sure we can see me. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
So the drape is stitched, and to me it's stitched to my knee. So you're not flashing any leg. Everything is covered, even with a big gust of wind. You should be okay. So no need to worry about that. Somebody else asked what it looked like when you sat. I guess I can bring a stool so you can see.
Okay.
Because I don't really know. I have not looked at myself in the mirror sitting in this dress. I assume it's a similar question about how much you see, but not much. You're well covered. So those were the two questions I saw mainly, but we might have a couple more.
There was a question about the scallop jacket, so the 9 lives.
Oh, okay. Do we need to see a detail on that?
Yeah, so that's the 9 lives, and here's the detail. Very similar kind of technique, just as far as the edge stitching at the design, going in the flow of the design of the fabric.
Cute. And I did see that someone asked about the long sleeve ET and what fabric it is. It's like a double-sided knit, double-sided jersey knit. Feels like cotton, but I'm not 100% on that. Probably not.
I don't think so. I think it was a rayon blend.
Yeah. So. So yeah. Do you have any other questions?
Let's see.
So in the meantime, let me tell you a little bit more about the Lotus. And this is a great sample to show you. So we have the yoke. It comes with the yoke, and then it is a faced yoke. So it's a really nice clean inside, and it also gives you a little bit more weight to hold the skirt up. It just makes it a little bit sturdier. And then on the drape, let's see if you can see it here, it has a nice mitered corner detail. Which I think is nice. I just think it's a clean look for a corner. And then you've got some darts in the back. So it is fitted. Talking of fit, what I would suggest, and what Linda and I were talking about, is that she thought if you're worried about fit, it is a more fitted garment. Normally our clothes are a little bit looser, so you do want to look at the standard fit measurements. A couple weeks ago, I was here to tell you that I made an extra small in everything, but that is not true. With this one, I had to look at the measurements and go up a size to make sure my hips were going to have enough ease and my waist was going to have enough ease. For me, my hip size and my waist size is a little bit different. So I cut out the 14, but I had to take it in the yoke so that it would fit my waist. So Linda and I were talking that if you're concerned about fit, what you want to do really is make a muslin of the yoke and get that situated, and then go with the skirt after that, because the skirt has a lot more ease in it. Sorry, someone just walked in. So you want to start with the yoke, get that fit, and then work from the skirt from there. I also wanted to show you what the pattern looks like. It is the skirt part is one piece, and it's kind of a U shape. And so what you can see here, this line and this line, that is your stitching line for the drape. So that turns into this. It's actually it's a fun piece to put together because it's like origami in a way, because you're stitching that together. As I said earlier, I did not shorten the skirt, but it does come with lengthen and shorten lines along here and here. You don't see them in this image. And you want to make sure that you lengthen or shorten the same amount on either side. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Do you think you could make the hem straight across instead of it being angled in the front? Do you think the hem could be straight across?
I think so, because of the way you gather the drape. I think that would be a different pattern piece.
Can I chime in?
Yes, Linda's here.
Here, I actually came upstairs just so.
Do you want to walk into mine?
So I could answer that question because I saw that coming.
Oh, okay.
On, and you can tell by the pattern piece that all the hems are already on the straighted grain. So in order to, quote, straighten out the hem, that's something you have to do after you get it on, I think. After you make it, you would have to completely redesign it, and the hems would then be on the bias, which would be difficult. So I would say no.
Yeah. I think that's a different pattern,
Exactly.
right? So, thank you for that. Special guest. So yeah, I put it together, started it on Friday. I was a little worried I wouldn't have it done by today, but it really didn't take any time to do. It does have the invisible zipper, and our instructions do have really nice details on putting in an invisible zipper. I can't tell you how many of those I've put in garments in my time, and every single time I have to look at it again. We have a tutorial actually, which is what I tend to reference, and it is all about putting in invisible zippers. That is on sale this week, and if you are like me and you have to look every single time, that's a really nice tutorial to look at. I'm going to show you one technique from the Lotus. It's not a difficult technique, it's just something that you want to keep an eye on. So to do the drape, we've got our yoke piece up here, and then this is the skirt piece here. As you can see, I've already done the drape and stitched it along the stitching lines. Now to sew on the yoke piece, you place it right sides together as you would with anything. So you're going to do right sides together, and you stitch and on both sides. But the trick is you're going to stop roughly 1.5 inches away from this point. There's a point A. It is where the point of the yoke meets a dot on the drape. So you're going to stop stitching roughly 1.5 inches away, and then you bring the pattern piece out to the front. So you can see how I've stopped stitching here. You bring it out to the front, and then you pin it to the front. So instead of doing the right sides together for just this section, you're putting it on top of the skirt piece, lining it up, and then you baste it, and then you edge stitch along the entire yoke. So what you want to make sure you don't skip in the instructions is the step before, where they have you press under the 5/8 inch seam allowance, because having that pressed, you're going to have your nice corner piece, and so you're going to be able to really match that to the dot and get a really clean line there. And you want to make sure that this is nice and flat. So it's not hard to do, But I would say take your time because this is a focal point of the skirt and you want to really make sure you nail that.
I'm going to zoom in a little bit
Zoom
more.
in a little bit.
So you guys can see the drape and that point on the yoke. Okay.
But it's a really nice technique because otherwise you wouldn't get that clean of a look. I think if you did the whole thing right sides together, you'd be trying to turn exactly on the dot and it just wouldn't be quite as tidy as that. So, do we have any questions about that?
Not on that, but what pattern is the bias skirt that was shown in the email on the far left? That might be something we need to answer later.
Yeah, I'd have to look because I can't remember what that was. I think it was, I think it's the skirt that Erin has on, but it's that navy one that Linda made. But I'd have to double check. So
The Eureka.
Oh, it is? It's the Eureka. We had someone look. Linda looked for us.
Okay. Is the front panel of the 6 cent skirt on the straight of grain giving a bias cut on the back seam?
No.
This panel?
Yeah. Here, do you want to come show them? So they're asking if this front panel is straight of grain, giving a bias cut on the back seam. Linda says no.
There is a back seam,
Yes, there is a back seam.
but the back seam is on the straight of grain.
Yeah. So, while you look for other questions, I wanted to mention that recently I have rediscovered tracing papers and tracing wheels. This is something that I remember we used a lot in sewing class in high school, and then I just kind of forgot about it. But for this skirt and for some other projects, I found that this is a really simple and easy and accurate way to make your marks. There are, well, you can't really see, you can kind of see them here. So there are lines that you need to mark on the front drape. There's quite a long stitching line, and then there are some drape lines, and then the darts as well. And for my money, I think the tracing paper is just a really nice and easy way to make those lines and make sure they're accurate. So if you're looking for a good marking notion, I would suggest, particularly with the skirt, trying that. And we do have a special double-sided Japanese tracing paper, which is chalk instead of the wax. And I prefer the chalk because it's easier to clean off the fabric. The wax can embed itself a little bit. But I will say, with all of these colors, this is what comes in a pack. You do always want to test it first on a corner of a scrap fabric, just in case. You don't want to be stuck with lines.
Okay, the other question was about some of the fabric that's on the wall.
Oh,
So
okay.
do we want to start in on the fabric?
Sure, of course.
And it was on the stretch suede twill.
Okay.
So let's just start on that side.
Okay, so this is a new fabric for us. This is what we are calling stretch suede twill. It is a polyester spandex fabric. We'll get up close here so that you can see there is a twill-like texture to the fabric. And it also has a very soft hand, so it's almost like a nap. So that is probably something, if you were working with a garment, you want to make sure that all the nap, you always see those instructions that say to check the nap. You want to do that probably with this fabric, I would think. But it's got a nice stretch. It's a little bit weightier. It'd be perfect for the Lotus skirt because it's got a beautiful drape with it. And we have it in 3 colors. This is mustard. We've got a beautiful plum. And coffee brown. It would also be great for jackets and pants. But we thought, particularly with the beautiful drape, it would be nice for the lotus.
Do you think you could you use that for the lotus, and what does the wrong side look like?
Well, that's a good point. So the wrong side is kind of it doesn't have the same texture. It has more of a texture, but it doesn't have that beautiful nap. Now with the lotus skirt, you do see the wrong side a little bit. You could probably get away with it because it is the same color, but that's something you want to think about. You know, with the viscose linen, which is over there, which is what I used, it's pretty much the same on both sides. So consider that. And that is kind of why we chose these plaid linens as well, because you've got the same weave on both sides. So you're not going to have kind of a funny backside to your drape.
And I think I would use it. Even though it's not the same, I think I would use that for the lotus.
I think because it's the same color, you can get away with it. If it was a print and so you had a white background, that's not going to look very good. So we've got these two beautiful, lightweight, kind of crinkly linens. These are from England, from Merchant and Mills. This is just a simple black with a big white check. And then we've got this lovely plaid that's kind of a toasty brown and a steel blue. And this has a really nice texture as well. Just a few slubs here and there that give it a little more body, whereas this is kind of a smoother, lighter weight linen. This guy, what do we call him? This is a Tencel viscose blend. And it's another interesting texture if you want to get in close for it. I think you probably, otherwise you're not going to see it. It's in a terracotta red. It's got a beautiful flowing drape, so lovely for skirts. And it's got almost like hatch marks in a way that are like kind of hatchy puckers, very, very subtle, but you can see them and it gives it a little bit more dimension to the fabric than if it was just a plain terracotta. But that would be lovely, and that would be lovely for skirts, dresses, shirts. I mean, just look at that flow. It's beautiful. So over here, we've got our viscose linen fabric. And if you've been following us for a while, you know that this is one of our standard fabrics that we keep in stock. We like it for the weight, we like it for the drape. You can use it for a lot of different garments. This is navy. I mean, you can't say much more about navy except that everyone can use it in their closet. This is mustard. This is what I'm wearing. And then down here we have copper. And what are you? Olive. All perfect fabrics for the fall. Beautiful colors. We have another plaid linen, similar to that toasty brown and steel blue, but this is kind of a teal, like a tealy green, and then a navy. So that's a nice color combination. And then we've got this guy, which is a rayon spandex. So it's got some stretch to it. And we call it ash blue. It's a beautiful kind of grayish blue. And again, all of these, same on front and back, so you don't have to worry about any differentiation in the drape.
And what's that pattern hanging there?
It's the ET with long sleeves. So the ET pattern comes with short sleeves, but we do have a tutorial that teaches you how to put long sleeves.
Would there be a way to color block the drape on the lotus?
Not without cutting up the pattern and like remaking the pattern. Like I said, it is one piece, so it's one piece. If you wanted to get, I have to think about this for a second.
I think you'd have to create a seam.
Yeah, you'd have to create a seam. We actually, because the pattern is a digital download and it's so large, you can see this is our little map. You actually do have to put the pattern pieces together along these lines. I was trying to think if you could use those lines to do the color blocking. I think you'd have to do this whole bottom section a different color and then do 2 seams and add the 2 side sections. But to just do the drape, it'd be kind of tricky. We could probably figure it out. Maybe not on the fly on Facebook Live, but maybe if you emailed me, I could do some kind of figuring out and see how you would do that.
And since that's on an angle, you wouldn't just be able to do the drape. But
Yeah, you wouldn't just be able to do the drape. You'd probably have like a column of color in the middle and then 2 sides. So.
Is there an issue with matching plaids?
I wouldn't match the plaids. You're gonna, because it's one piece and you're drawing it together, like this plaid is gonna be on the bias. I wouldn't worry about that at all.
And there's not a seam on, you know.
There's not a seam, there's only a seam on this side, and I probably just wouldn't even worry about that.
There's a black fabric over in the corner. What's that one there?
Oh, sorry, buddy.
I
This
didn't have room on the wall.
Yes, this is another of the stretch weighted twill, but in black, basic black. Can't go wrong.
And someone mentioned a black and white check. I think that would be interesting for the skirt. I actually thought about that for the wall.
Oh yeah.
But was going with more kind of some warm tones. But.
Yes, these are our autumnal colors.
And there was a question about how much yardage for the Lotus.
2 yards.
2 yards.
2 yards.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
I know.
Okay, so 2 yards. I assume that's just all sizes.
It's funny, it's a very big pattern piece because of the fact that it's the one big U shape. So you do need some room to maneuver it a little bit. But like I said, it's a fun pattern to put together because you're kind of, it's almost like an origami shape. So.
Will you show the stripe, that woven stripe Lotus? Someone wanted to see it in a plaid. We don't have it in a plaid, but this would at least give you an idea. Kind of analyze that one a bit so you could see it in something other than a solid.
Yeah, and what I like about this is the way they did the stripe of the yoke, different than the skirt.
Let's get a full shot of that too. Yeah, so that shows you kind of what it would look like in a check. You can kind of see the angles or what it would look like in a plaid, and that gives you a little bit better idea.
Yep.
Okay, I don't see any other questions.
Any other questions?
Unless there's something new. Yes, in autumn we do love black and white too. I always like black and white, doesn't matter what season it is.
Yes, that's an all year combination.
All right, okay.
Okay. Well, so on sale this week, our beautiful new Lotus skirt pattern, the 8th Avenue pattern, the 6/10 skirt pattern, all of our lovely fabrics here on the wall. We have the Japanese tracing paper and a tracing wheel and the must-have, the invisible zipper tutorial.
And there is another question here. Is there a choice to which side the drape falls?
Not really. You can move your skirt if you'd like, but no.
But then the zipper would be,
Yeah,
wouldn't be
you'd have
upside.
a funny zipper, but because the zipper goes on the side, and I guess you could do it backwards. Oh, Linda just told me I did it backwards. Right, so envision it like so.
Well, I think it should be pointed out that the zipper on the pattern is on the right side.
It is, okay.
And that puts the drape on the left.
Okay.
And so probably you may have cut it with the wrong
Things
side of the pattern
separate.
up.
Okay.
And that's how you reverse the drape.
There you go.
And so you do have a choice.
Okay, so you do have a choice because I did it. Linda pointed out that the zipper on the pattern is on the right side and drape is on the left, but because it's solid fabric, I cut it and put it together with the wrong side.
So you have to
So you just have to kind
know
of
what
flip
you
it.
wanna do
Yeah,
in the
you just have to
beginning.
know what you want to do. And I totally meant to do that. I like a right side drape. Learn from me. Learn from my mistakes.
The 8th Avenue is tricky in that way too, when on the zipper placement. Though that one you can.
Well, I think it's
Switch
important
around.
that you, whichever side you decide,
Mhm.
you need to stay with all pieces that way.
Right. So whichever side you decide, you need to stay with all pieces
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
This is why I don't work with solid fabric.
I think what happens is, because this pattern has a zipper on the right side, which is completely foreign
Mhm.
to how we experience zippers. Zippers are always on the left side.
Yeah.
So I think it would be sort of intuitive for you to think, oh, I need to turn that.
Right. Right. So-
Just be sure and turn both pieces.
Yes,
Both,
yes.
both yokes are all pieces, the yokes, the facings, and the skirt as well.
Yes. So you just need to decide which side you'd like and make sure that everything goes in that direction. So there you go. Helpful hints. Any other questions?
I don't see any other questions.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. Enjoy your sale goods this week. There's some beautiful fabric, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Thanks, you guys, for
Thank
doing
you.
Facebook Live today.
Anytime.
I appreciate it.
I felt like I was cheating because I had answers in the background. Cheating at school.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah, we'll give you a break every once in a while. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.